Hello, good day and welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluwatosin. In case you are coming across this channel for the first time, and to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for stopping by. Guys, thanks so much for all the love towards my channel, the comments, the likes, everything I see, and I don't take it for granted. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to cut and sew a princess dart bustier with a basque waistline. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, come along with me, guys. So this is my already drafted pattern, and I'll be cutting directly on the fabric. I'm not using a pattern paper. And then I went ahead to draft out the nipple to nipple, the chest point, the shoulder to nipple, the shoulder to under the bust, and then the half length itself. Then I added 6 inches allowance to the half length. You know, basque waistline is definitely longer than the half length itself. So that being said, the next thing I'm going to do is on the half length, I'm going to measure 2 inches forward from the nipple to nipple line on the half length, and then I'll draw it up to shoulder to under bust line, just like I did. I can use my free hand, and I can go ahead to use my curved ruler to curve out my cup. Now, so right here, I'm just trying to curve out the cup. Just use your curved ruler or maybe freehand, however convenient for you. So guys, on the curve, you measure 5 inches downward, just like I did, and then measure one on that 5, measure 1 inch forward, 1 inch backward, and look for a way to blend it inside the curve. I mean inside the cup itself. Then the 2 inches you measured forward, just draw it down to the whole length of your piece. Guys, because of the style we are cutting, or because of the way I want to achieve the style, at this point I'm not going to be marking out my armhole line or my neckline. I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out. So the shaded part is where we are going to cut out. So just cut it out, and then I cut the lining and the main fabric together at the same time, just to save time. Guys, the quantity of fabric I folded was a bust divided by 2 for front panel, then plus 7-inch allowance to each panel. So I added 7 inches to a bust divided by 2 for the front. I added 7 inches to a bust divided by 2 for the back, and then I folded that into 2. So moving ahead, for this back panel, I measured 1.5 inch zip allowance. Then I measured a nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus half-inch allowance. Then I went ahead to attach my stay to it. Then I placed it on the lining, and then since I attached my stay on it, the marking wiped off. So I had to remark 1.5 inch zip allowance, nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus half-inch sewing allowance, and then I just connected it like so and cut it out. The back panel is always so easy. Don't forget that I said I'm not going to be removing the shoulder or the neckline at this point. So the next thing is sewing. Just pin it the way I'm pinning it, right side facing the right side for the fabric, right side facing the right side for the lining as well. For the front panel too, right side facing the right side. It's always advisable to start joining the front panel from the down. So from the down, just sew the way my finger is running across. Sew upward. Don't let the cup stay out. Let it come into the center panel, just like I'm doing, and then you sew from the down to the up. You do the same thing to the other side, and basically that is it for joining. So you do the same thing to the lining as well. So after joining, guys, this is what I have. I've not pressed these pieces at this point, and then it's already standing and the cup is already pronounced already. I just went ahead to put a notch at the shoulder to under the bust region. Just notch that part so that you can easily bring it out, and then it will come out very neatly and nicely. So this is the main fabric at this point. After just joining, I've not pressed at all, at this point. And then this is the lining too is already like puffing. The breast region is already, the cup is already coming out the way it's supposed to be. I've not even pressed. And this is the back panel. So the next thing now, guys, is to arrange right side facing right side for the main fabric, right side facing right side for the lining. For the back panel, do the same thing to the front panel, and make sure all the joining are facing one direction. Right side facing right side, all the joinings facing one direction. Guys, right side facing right side, all the joinings facing one direction. Then, right side can face right side, and then the joining will not face the same direction, which is wrong, and it can be confusing if you are not used to this method. So, like the way I'm trying to rearrange it now, right side is still facing right side, and all the joinings are not facing one direction, which is completely wrong. So just bear it in mind that right side has to face right side. Apart from that, all the joinings have to be in one direction. That, like, all the joinings have to be facing one direction. So I hope that is clear. So the next thing is, after properly arranging the front and the back panel, the next thing is, I know my shoulder to under busts, which is obvious. It's like I can obviously spot that, and then I must have measured it on the person, so I know my shoulder to under bust. So all I have to do is put my shoulder to under bust, the person's shoulder to under bust measurement, put it there, and then take your tape rule upward. Whatever you mark, add 1 inch sewing allowance, and anything that is remaining from there, after there, just cut it away. We don't need it, just like I did. Then you go ahead to measure your shoulder. This dress does not have sleeves, so I'm not going to be adding any half-inch allowance to the shoulder. Then go ahead to measure the person's armhole. Armhole is actually 17, but in this case, I'm using 7. So the next is to measure the person's bust divided by 4. Then you have, see the way I'm placing my tape when I'm measuring the bust, not directly on the cup, a little bit under the cup. I added 1.5 inch sewing allowance. You can use 2 if you have enough allowance. You can as well use 1. It depends on you. Then the waistline divided by 4 plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Just connect the allowance points together, and then you draw it straight. You draw it down, not necessarily straight down. If it was like just the half cut, this would have been the length. But since it's like a basque waistline, that is why it's appearing this longer. So just go ahead to cut that out. And the next now is to reduce the zip allowance, and let it be like equal from up to down. So then mark the zip allowance. When you remove this front from this back now, if you didn't put that mark there, you would not be able to easily recognize the zip allowance. So just mark it. Then the next is to mark the neckline. I used neck width of 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, and then I used neck depth of 1.5 as well. And this neckline, it's a round neck, so just draw your neckline, the neckline of your choice. Then go ahead to cut that out. After cutting out, slant your shoulder a little bit, and basically that is it for the back panel, guys. But because of the style I'm cutting, this is optional, it depends on your style, but the style I'm cutting as a yoke. So, and the style I'm cutting, there's no zip at this upper side of the dress, so I'm eliminating the zip allowance because of the style I'm cutting. You should not do that. It depends on the style you are cutting. And then this style has yoke. The yoke is net, so I'm trying to cut out and replace the yoke with net. You don't have to do this like I said before. It depends on the style that you are cutting. This video is centered on the basque side of the waistline. Like, it's centered on the basque waistline, not centered on the yoke. That is why I didn't talk much about it. So now for the front panel, mark out your neckline. I used neck width of 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, and I use neck depth of 3.5 as well, and it is a round neck. It is a round neck. I connected the neckline together, and then I went ahead to cut it out. Then slant your shoulder just like I'm doing. It is as simple as that. So guys, I went ahead to cut out the yoke for the front panel too, and at this point I'd already joined the yoke and turned the yoke together with the fabric, and the next thing now is to cut out the basque waistline. I did this off camera for a reason I said before. This particular video is centered on how to cut out the basque waistline, not the yoke. That's why I didn't talk much about it. So now to cut out the basque waistline, just fold your front panel into two like I'm doing. Make sure it is properly and neatly folded together. Let the two joinings be facing each other. Just arrange it properly, and then after doing that, go ahead to measure the length that you want. As a clue, just let your shoulder to under bust measurement be under the bust so that you can know the actual length. Then you mark the length for the middle, the length that you want. In this case, I'm using 21 at the middle, and mark that point. Then go ahead to measure towards the side as well. I marked 17 for the side, so I used 17. I used 21 by 17. Then connect those 2 points together with, if you want the middle to be sharp, you can just go ahead to use a ruler so that it's going to be like pointy and sharp. And then after connecting the 2 points together, just go ahead to cut it out the way I'm doing. So for the lower part of the dress now, what you've cut for the upper part, just place it on the lower part of the dress. It might be a straight lower part, 6 pieces, a line, whatever the lower part is. Just place it on top the way I'm doing, and then you mark that point. But you're not going to cut directly on the line, the place you marked. Just cut like ½ inch above where you marked. The ½ inch is what you use to join the upper part to the lower part of the dress. So guys, after cutting the up and the down, you should have something looking like this. Like the two points should complement each other perfectly. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So this is what I have. I have something looking like this after I'm done cutting the front, the up and the down. So to join now, it's advisable to start your joining from the middle, face the right side to the right side, and then from the middle, you sew towards one direction. It might be the left. Then when you are done, you come back to the middle and sew towards the other direction, which might be the right. Whichever way convenient, you can go from middle to left or from middle to right. So guys, after joining, this is what I have. You should have something looking like this at this point. So when I'm done joining, this is what I have. So just go ahead to press that part you joined. Just open press that part you joined on the wrong side. So at this point, the back panel is as well ready, the front panel is ready as well, and I've gone ahead to attach my zip. I didn't dwell much on this back panel because I said this tutorial is centered on how to cut and sew a basque waistline, and basque waistline mostly is at the front. That was why I did all the back panel off camera. So guys, the next thing is to shape, and after shaping the dress, this is what I have. Guys, I'm going to upload a well-detailed tutorial on how I made this adorable sleeve. Watch out for that. Is what I'm going to upload after this particular video. And then I have a video on how I made this train at the back too in my previous video before this one. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to put it down in the comment section. And please don't forget to subscribe and share my video amongst your soulmates. Then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.